Good morning and welcome to our live stream on Google Sheets. So let's get started with Google Sheets. I really like Google Sheets. It's a lovely tool for being able to manipulate data and present that data in really kind of interesting and engaging ways. So let me introduce Laura Phee, who will be joining me today when looking at Google Sheets. Hi Laura, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. So you're a Google Sheets expert then?
No, well, I use it very frequently, so I wouldn't say expert, but getting there.
Yeah, we were talking about Laura's usage, and it seems to be it's a daily tool in her teaching toolkit, which is really fabulous to know. So welcome along, everyone. Please drop into the chat, say hello, share your Twitter handle and where you're watching from today. So I'm in Stirling, still staying at home, staying safe. What about you, Laura?
I'm in Airdrie, so staying safe.
Also at home, so
Yep.
that's good. So we were just talking, Laura and I, before we came on air there, about how it's going to potentially be for teachers this year a very different type of summer holiday, because maybe the plans that we did have been slightly curtailed or need to change slightly. So I guess see what happens and see where it goes. But if people find themselves at home and they're not sure what to do, then they can always make up some spreadsheets ready for the new year, I guess, with kind of lots of bits of data and stuff. So the way the session's going to work, Laura's got some slides to kind of take you through and explain, kind of functionality and features of Google Sheets. And then there's also some kind of work through exercises and some activities as well that people can look at doing afterwards. So I think, would it be fair to say, Laura, it's probably best just kind of first time just to kind of watch and go through, because while it's live. And then, if people are watching on catch up, or if people are wanting to come back to it, then you can kind of pause and restart and things. So we've got a resources folder available. So I'll just put this up now, but we'll also put it up again later. So a short little bit.ly link, bit.ly sheets 0506. And that will hopefully take you to a Google Drive folder. And in that Google Drive folder is the resources that Laura's put together that she's using today. So do I need anything else people need to know, do you think, before we get started, Laura?
No, I think we're all good.
Excellent. So Laura's in South Lanarkshire with me, and you're one of our Google certified trainers.
Yep.
So everyone kind of blushes and goes, "Oh, me? Yeah." Well. So more than qualified to take today's session. So Laura, if you're ready, I'll bring your screen in, and then you can start sharing all about Google Sheets.
Perfect.
Okay, it's all yours.
Perfect. So I'm just going to start off with a very basic introduction of why I use Google Sheets, and then how to open one, how to do basic formula. So just starting off, why use Google Sheets over Excel? Excel is very widely used, but obviously Google Sheets is very, very, very similar, and in many ways has some superior features to it. So Google Sheets is cloud-based, as does with all the other Google Suite applications, whereas Excel is a desktop program. So with Sheets, you'll no longer have versions of your work floating around, one saved here, one saved there. So that avoids it. Everything's kept in the one place. It's most up to date. And everyone can see the same data rather than people getting different versions. Like with all Google products, collaboration is baked into Sheets, so you can share it. Everyone can be working on the same sheet. So it's very up to date. Everyone's working from the same information. And it's very intuitive. Sheets can build charts, suggest formula. It creates pivot tables based on your data that you've got there. So it can look at it, see what you might need, and suggest certain formula or certain charts that you might want to display your information in. So it is really, really good. It's a very, very useful tool compared to Excel. So starting off, I'm just going to show you how to open a Google Sheet. So there's 3 ways to open a Google Sheet. So via Google Drive. So I'll just open my Google Drive just now. So if I wanted to start a new Google Sheet, I can do it 2 ways. I can click on the new at the left, sheets, and then if you click this little arrow, you can either have a blank spreadsheet or you can choose from a template. So there are loads of templates. There's calendar templates, invoice templates, there's assignment tracker templates. So there's loads already set up for you that you can just edit, or you can start a blank one to fit your needs from the outset. So you just click on that and it would open up a blank Google Sheet. Another way to do it is just going into your Chrome browser, opening up a new tab, and sheets.new will again open up a blank spreadsheet for you. Okay, very easy. And then the third way is importing an existing spreadsheet. So you might have one already set up that you wish to adapt, that is in an Excel format that you want to import into Google Sheets. So to do that, the easiest way that I found is to right-click in my area and then upload a file. So I'm just going to use one on my desktop that I already, and just open that. And what that does is it converts it as it uploads into a Google Sheet. Now, I know that it's definitely going to convert it because I've turned this setting on for that to happen. So to turn that setting on, you can just go to your little cog up at the top of your Google Drive and then go into settings. And I have convert uploads turned on, so I can convert uploaded files to a Google Docs editor format, so it automatically turns it into a Google Sheet for me. So I don't need to do any converting, it's already done as it's uploading and it's already in the neat Google Sheets format for me. So it's really, really simple if there's already one that I've already got set up that I just want to now convert into a Google Sheet. So that is the 3 ways. So hopefully you'll be able to navigate and find one which is the most appropriate for you. So the next thing I'm going to move on to is some simple formula. Now you might have this knowledge already, or that this might be the first time that you're using a Google Sheet. So I'm just going to start off very, very basic and show you how to do adding, subtracting, using formula, and then we'll go on to a wee bit more advanced that you might find useful. So this simple formula Google Sheet is one that is in the resources folder that you can go and have a wee attempt at later on. So here I've got some employee weekly wages. So I've got some names, the hours they've worked, their rate of pay, and we're going to calculate their gross pay. So the formula I would be looking to use here is a multiplication formula. So as I've said in my Google Sheet, every formula starts with an equal sign. So this lets the software, whether it is Google Sheets or whether it is Excel, know that you want to do some sort of calculation. So every formula would start with the equal sign. So for addition, it's just a simple add symbol, subtraction, the take away symbol. The ones that are a wee bit different, obviously, because we've not got a multiply symbol on our keyboard or a division symbol, is it's an asterisk and the / sign that we'd be using for multiply and then division. So I'll just give you a wee example of multiplying. So putting in my equals to tell the computer I'm wanting to do some sort of calculation. And then I can just click on the cell and then I'm going to multiply by the rate per hour. Now the reason I don't type in 37, click on the cell, is because if I update this person's wages to 39, it automatically updates my formula for me. So you never want to be really keying in anything that you can click on a cell reference for, okay? Now, what a good thing about a spreadsheet is you don't need to be doing the calculation again and again and again. You can use what's called the replication tool. So what that does is it copies the formula continually into the cells that you want your answer to be in. So to do that, if you highlight over the bottom right-hand corner of your cell, you can see my cursor's changed to a black plus sign. And all I need to do is drag my formula down and then it automatically populates those sales for me. So it's really, really quick. It's really easy. You only need to do one formula and then drag it down. So for the net pay, there's deductions being taken off of this person's salary. So this would be a subtract. So again, putting in my equals to tell the computer I want to do some sort of calculations. So it would be gross pay minus my deductions. So always clicking on the cells rather than keying in the numbers. So that means I can automatically update if this changed to say £50. It automatically does it for me. And again, I can just replicate that down. So going to the bottom right-hand corner of my cell and just dragging that down, and it automatically populates that for me. So in the Google sheet, Google slide, I've got a copy of what symbols you would need to use depending on what kind of calculation you want to do. So they're the very, very simple ones. Now moving on to simple formula using a range. So a range is a group of cells. So if I highlight these cells, that would be me called highlighting a range of cells. So if I wanted to add these all together, I would be looking to add a range. Okay, so the different formulas you can do using a range of cells, you can add them, you can find an average of a range of cells, you can find a minimum value, so the lowest value within a group of cells that you've highlighted, or you can find the maximum, so the highest value within a range of cells. So I'm just going to demonstrate how you would maybe do some of them. So back into my simple formula. So I'm wanting to find out the total pay that was going out for that week. So equals, and it's already suggested, press enter for my suggestion. This is where it automatically thinks, well, what would she maybe want to do based on the information that she's got. So it does suggest, it's very, very intuitive what you want to do. So you could just click enter and it would automatically highlight that range for you and use the sum formula, or you could do it manually if it was something different you were wanting to do. So you can just key in sum and then highlight the range. So that's a wee bit in the way. So it gives me the same answer. So it is very good looking ahead and seeing what information you might want to get from your spreadsheet. So in part B, there's another wee worksheet down here for you to do, another tab. So here I'm going to be using the other functions that are using a range. So here I've got jelly bean sales from Calder Glen Enterprises. So January, February and March sales of the different types of confectionery. So here I'm wanting to do an average. So it's very simple, just keying in the word average and then open your bracket, or you can click average from the list. And then I would just be highlighting my range because it is a group of cells as a range. And then just pressing enter. That's just working away. So there I've got my monthly average for this group of cells. Now this has changed it to currency, and I don't really want that as currency. So I'll show you later on how I would change that from currency to number. So just replicating that down in the same format as I've been doing before, using my bottom right corner and dragging down, and that does the average. So you can see my formula up here, what formula it is using, and it is adapting the range based on what row we're in. So here I'm looking for total sales. So I'm looking for equal sum. Again, because it's called total sales, it knows that I want to do an equal sum. So I can just press enter and it automatically populates that formula, and I can just click enter and drag that along. Then for the minimum sales, so this I'm looking to see which sale in this group was the lowest. So my answer, having looking at it, should be 12,200. So I want to make sure that's correct. So I put in min for minimum, and I just highlight my range of sales, just making sure not to take in my total. So yep, it's 12,200 is the lowest. So maybe that would be, I would look and see which that confectionery type is, and maybe that would be the one I would market a wee bit more, or whatever your information is, you could use that information. So again, just dragging that along, and it automatically puts my minimum calculation in for me. It's just replicating that formula across. And then maximum, so looking for the highest sales, so which sale is doing the best, or which confectionery. So again, max, it's suggesting based on the data. Can just click on that and press enter, and it's found the highest value within that range for me, and just dragging that along. Okay, so here I was talking about that I didn't want this to be currency. I want it to just be number, because it's the number of sales, it's not the value of the sales. So just clicking on this 1, 2, 3 up here at the top, and this is where you can choose all the different formats of sale formats that you'd like. So if you'd like it as a percentage, if you want it as any different type of currency, if you want it as a date, you can choose from this list what you would like. So I just want it to be number. Okay, and there it is. Now, what this has done, because it is an average, it's not a full number every time. So I would like this to be consistent and be full numbers, the whole cells. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here, so I can either decrease my decimal places or I can increase my decimal places. So this case, I want to decrease it, and what that does is it rounds it as it goes. So you'll see here that this should turn to a 7 based on the rounding, and it has. Okay, so that is how you would use the very basic simple formula using a range. There is another set of formula using a range, which is counting. Now, I find this exceptionally useful because I could have rows and rows and rows of information, and I can't quite see, well, how much information, how many rows, how many pupils are in this group, and I would like to count and see how many pupils are there. So I would maybe use the count or count A. Now, the main difference between the count and the count A is a count with must contain numbers. So the range that you are highlighting must contain numbers in it, or it won't count them. However, if you were counting a group of names, so the cell contains text, you would need to put count A in. So I'll show you in a wee second how that works in the London trip. So again, this London trip Google Sheet is in the resource folder, so you can have a wee go at this yourself. So if I wanted to count and see how many pupils are in this list, because there could be hundreds of cells, what I can do is I can put equals count, and if I don't put the A, watch what happens. It comes back 0 because none of these cells that I've highlighted contain numbers. However, if I put count A, it updates, and there are 20 pupils in this list. Okay, so if it doesn't work, turn it and see it as it got numbers in it, then it's just count. If it's got text in it, then it's count A. Now, the other one I've got in the list here is count blank. So say you had a list and you wanted to see, so if it was in this spreadsheet, I might have this column filled out, and I want to see how many pupils haven't paid their deposit or haven't given me the information. So I could delete some of these. So if I want to know how many pupils haven't handed in their form that tells me where they want to go on this trip, what I can do is I can use the count blank, and it'll find how many cells don't have any values in them, whether it is text or numbers in it. So I can see 3 people haven't given me information on where their additional activity has to be. So those 3 I find really useful. I thought it was worth putting them in, so you can maybe have a wee go at using them. So the next thing that I'm moving on to is sorting and filtering. So I put a couple of screenshots in to show you how to do it. So highlighting your range of cells, so the whole group of cells, and then selecting the data. So I'll show you how to do that just now. So say I wanted to group sort the people by age, so all the pupils by age, and then within that see who has the similar additional activity. So what I would do is I'd highlight all my information that I want to be sorted, and then I would go to data. Oh, no, sorry. Where am I? And data, a data, and then sort the range. Okay, so in this case, I do have a header row. So my row 3 that I have highlighted is my header row that has all my headings in it. So ID, full name, age, additional activity. So I want to have that clicked because I don't want that sorted in amongst the rest of the information. And what that also does is it then labels my column for me, so I know exactly which column I want to sort by. So in this case, I said I wanted to sort by age. So I want them categorized by age, and then within that, I want to sort by, say, additional activity in this case. And if I click sort, what that does is it groups all the people that are the same age together. And then within that grouping, it groups the people that have the same additional activity together. So it is really good. So you might have loads of subjects. It might be pupil assessments. So you maybe want to group by assessment and then sort by highest to lowest of mark. So it is a really, really good function to be able to sort across a number of fields, a number of columns, rather than just an individual column. Now, filtering is another function which is really, really good. So it allows you to just pick people out based on certain criteria. So only show certain rows if they meet certain criteria. So if I wanted to see only the people that wanted to go to the Tower of London, I can just pull those people out and just filter and see who those are individually. So I'll show you how to do that. So again, highlighting all the information that I want to be filtered. And then you're going to use the filter symbol, which are the filter option, which is this little funnel here. So I'm going to create a filter. So I'm just going to click on that. And you can see these little things here next to all the field headings names. This allows you to then filter by that column. So if I only wanted to see the people that were going to the London Eye, I can click them and click OK. And then what that'll do, and I'll click that. Oh, try that again. Is it pulls the people that are going to the London Eye. Now you can put numerous filters on numerous columns at the same time, so I'll find one that has a wee bit more. So I'll maybe do a couple, so I'll maybe do these 3. But then I only want the people who are, say, 17. So I'll click on my filter for this column, untick 16. So I'm left with only the people who are wanting to go to those additional activities who are 17. So you can do multiple filters to meet however many criteria you want, which is really, really useful. So you can pull people out. Now you can save that filter. So I would maybe save that and I would name it pupils going on whatever additional activities who are 17. And what I can then do is just quickly, when I go into that spreadsheet, apply the filters at certain times if I need them, rather than having to do it again and again and again. So additional activity who are aged 17. And then I can have no filter on and then, sorry, clear my filter. And then if I wanted to quickly go put that filter back on, I can just click in the list of filters by just clicking the little down arrow here, and it automatically does that for me. So it is very, very handy. It is very helpful that you can save those filters and apply them at any time, because it'd probably be filters that you would use quite frequently. So I've went over sorting and then to filtering. So again, I've got a wee screenshot telling you how to do that and how to apply a filter. Now the next section, I've got a few things that I thought it would be beneficial to show you. So how to edit and add new rows and columns, creating new tabs. I've already shown you how to format cells as currency or percentage. Again, it was just going up to the little 1, 2, 3, and that gives you the list of all the formats that you could possibly need. Then splitting a cell into 2 columns. Now these next two are very, very handy when it comes to sorting information. So when I get to it, you'll understand why I'm showing you it. So the first one is editing rows and columns. So if you have different rows and columns that you want to either get rid of or you want to add, it's very, very, this is actually better than Excel, because when you right click, it gives you the option to insert right or left. When you're in Excel, it automatically inserts to the right, so you need, sorry, to the left, so you need to make sure that you're in the correct column and it pushes your data the correct way. And sometimes you're putting it in, nope, wanted it the other way, having to undo it. Whereas with Google Sheets, you can choose whether you want it to go right or left. It's much, much easier. So if I was wanting to insert a column between full name, I would insert it right or left. So in this case, I'm going to insert it to the right. And I'm going to call it surname, and I'll come back to that. So all I'm doing to insert a column is clicking up the top on the letters of the alphabet, and then just inserting right or left based on where I want it in reference to that column. For rows, it's the exact same. If you want to insert a row above or below a certain row, you right click on the number and you can insert a row above, or you can insert a row below. So if I insert a row below it, if I thought, nope, that's not what I want, I can just right click and delete that row. If I'm wanting to adjust the size of my columns, if this was too small and I can't quite see and it's running over into my next column, all you need to do is hover between the 2 columns that need adjusted, and you can see my cursor's changed to an arrow at both ends, and I can just click and drag and make that as big or as small as I need. Or you can double click. If you double click it, it automatically adjusts to the largest width that you need. So if I just double click that, it means that it automatically goes as big as I need it to, and there's not any big gaps or anything like that. So that's editing and kind of adjusting rows and columns. The next thing is adding tabs. So you can see here I've got a costs tab, and then I've got an activities tab that tells me how much the individual cost of the activities is. If I wanted to then add another tab for another cost or any more information, whether it was medical information about pupils going on a trip, I can just add a sheet here. And then I can just right click and rename that. So I'll just call this medical information. And the really good thing about it is you can change the colour, you can protect the sheets, which means it can't be deleted easily. You can move them really easily. It is very, very easy to use these options down here. So I'm going to change the colour to blue. So you can see my tabs have got different colours down the bottom. And another thing that is really, really good in comparison to Excel is you could have a really large number of tabs, and you could be pressing the arrow, trying to get along all the tabs. Whereas in Google Sheets, you can then just choose from the list here, and it's much quicker than having to move along the tabs at the bottom. If you have a large number of tabs, you might have a number of tabs for each individual pupil in a certain class that's tracking them, and then you could just click on that and it'll show you a list of their names rather than you having to click along the bottom. So that is adding and editing tabs. The next thing is format and currency. We've done that. So splitting a cell into 2 columns. Now this is where I come back to my surname. So here, if I was trying to sort these pupils by surname, I couldn't do it because the cell is formatted with the full name rather than first name and surname. So I'm just going to show you a really easy and simple way to split that information. Now, Excel, it's a nightmare. You basically have to do it manually. Whereas this, it is absolutely fantastic. So you can just highlight the information that you want to split. So it's usually a name, and then right click, and then you're scrolling down. Where am I? No, sorry, I'm going into data. Am I? Yeah, sorry, going into data, and then you're going to split text to columns. And then the separator, in this case, what is separating these 2 words is a space. So what that does is it automatically jumps their surname into the next column that I've created space for. So it means if I wanted to then sort this information by age and then by surname, it is much easier for me. I couldn't have done that previously because their full name was all in the one cell. So now I would maybe just change this to first name. Okay, so that is a really, really useful thing. I find that I've used that a lot, splitting that information. Another thing you might want to do is remerge this. Now, you might want to have first name, surname, and then full name. So I can show you how to do that as well. So I'm going to need another column. So going up to where I want that column to kind of come in. And I'm going to insert my column to the left. And this column is going to be called full name. So I'm going to get the full name back. So to do that, it requires a little bit of a formula. So in the Google slide, I have put an example of that formula of combining 2 cells. So this doesn't need to be text. This could be numbers. It could be anything that you're wanting to combine. It might not be a name. It could be anything. So here I want to combine their first name and surname again. So I put in an equals to tell the computer I'm doing some sort of formula. So I want their first name, and then I put an ampersand, so adding. Then I put in this. Now, I'm deliberately showing you how to the wrong way. So if you didn't want a space between whatever it is you're joining, then you just click D4, so the first name, ampersand, and then whatever it is, the surname, whether it's surname, into the next part. Now, I don't want that name to be crushed together. I want it nice and neat. I want to have a space between their first name and their surname. So in this case, it would be ampersand. Then I put in a quotation mark, space, quotation mark, then an ampersand again, and then the surname. So what that does is saying it's adding first name plus a space plus the surname, and then it joins that name back together. Now, if you delete one of the parts of the information, it does take away that information because it is based on a cell reference. So you need to make sure that that information stays there. You can't remove this column because it would then affect any of the formula that you put in your full name. So with that, it's a formula, so I can replicate it down. So that will then join the names back together. So I've shown you how to separate them, and then I've shown you how to put them back together if that's what you wanted. So the next thing is freezing panes. So this is when you have, as you can see in here, I've got a big title, and then I've got another row that I want to basically stay stagnant. When I'm scrolling down, if I had hundreds, I don't then know what column A is. I don't know what column E is. I don't know what column G is, because I can't see the names. I can no longer see the header. So I'm just going to show you how you can keep that stuck or frozen. So if you're scrolling down, it stays constant at the top of your spreadsheet. So to do that, I go into the last row that I want to stay frozen, and I go to View, Freeze, and I want to freeze up to the current row that I'm clicked on. So that would be row 3 in this case. So if I start to scroll down, you can see that if I had hundreds and hundreds of rows, you would still be able to see what column B stands for, what column F stands for, rather than having to just figure it out based on the previous information that you could maybe see. So I think that's a really helpful thing to be able to see. If I wanted a column to be frozen, again, it's the same principle. Go into View, go to Freeze, and then I want to do up to the current column that I'm clicked on, or it could be column 1, could be 2 columns, whatever ones that I am highlighting. But the reason it's not going to work because I've merged these two, but it should in principle, if you've not merged, you should be able to freeze that. Okay, so there's a couple of formulas here that you can see that I haven't filled in. So this one, deposit paid, I'm going to use what's called a data validation for this. Okay, so I'm just going to unfreeze these. So no rows. So for the deposit paid, it's called a data validation. So basically I'm going to create a drop-down list. So the 3 options that I'm going to use here are yes, they've paid the deposit, no, they've not paid the deposit, or they've paid it in part. So you could maybe create a drop-down list with subjects. It could be with a grade. It could be any number of things that you, if you're continually using the same options, you could create a drop-down list. So to do that, it sounds really difficult, but it's very, very easy. You can just highlight where you would want those drop-down menus to be. You right click on the cells, and down the bottom there's an option for data validation. So I've highlighted my cell range. So the criteria is going to be from a list of items that I am going to create. So the list that I said I was going to use is yes, they've paid their deposit, no, they've not paid their deposit, or they've paid it in part. So you can see I'm just separating those different lists or those different items with a comma, and it will show as a drop-down list. So I'm just going to say, so if there is an invalid data, so if I try and key in anything other than yes, no, or in part, mine is currently set as show a warning. So it would say that you need to choose from yes, no, or in part. Or you can say completely reject the input, so it just wouldn't allow that you to key in anything other than yes, no, or in part. So I'm just going to keep it as in show warning just to show you how what happens. So now you can see all these little arrows, and I can choose yes, no, in part from this list if they've paid their deposit or not. So that it's really, really good if there's things that you are continually putting in. You can then just create a drop-down list. So if I try and put in yeah, it's not obviously one of the lists. So there's my little warning. Input must be an item on the specific list. So that is the warning. If I said reject input, it just wouldn't allow me to put anything other than yes, no, or in part. So reject input is probably one that you'd want to stick with if you were doing that, but you could have it as show warning if that's what you wish. So you could fill that all in using the drop downs. So the other data validations you can use, there's a list. You can have tick boxes, you can have it saying certain text, you can have it a custom formula. So if I put the tick box in, you can either tick it yes or no. So I could have this as they've either yes paid their deposit or not paid their deposit, and just have that as a tick box. So yes, they've handed in their assignment. No, they've handed in their assignment. Yes, you've sent a homework letter. No, you've not sent a homework letter. So it could be as simple as that, or you can have a wee bit more text if that's what you would like. So, and here, oh, sorry, down here, I've just put a little reminder to remove all formatting from a cell or a range of cells. So if you've formatted it as currency, or if you've formatted it bold and underlined and you don't want it to be formatted that way anymore, you can undo the formatting. If you're on a Mac, it's Command and /. If you're on a PC or a laptop, it would be Control and /. So I'll just show you. So this is obviously shaded and it is in bold. So if I just wanted to strip that as from all the formatting, I would just press Control and my forward, and it takes it back to the raw cell format that it was originally set up with when you opened up the blank spreadsheet. So if you wanted to, if you put in that's not currency anymore, I can just strip that of its currency, bold and stuff like that. So it's a really, really handy feature. That one didn't strip of the currency because I've got a specific formula in, and that one's set as currency. So that's got a VLOOKUP, but I thought I'd just leave it there for the day in terms of formula, just with the more simple formula. So the last thing that I wanted to show you, and I think is extremely useful, is the explore function. So if you're using any of the Google products, you'll know the explore function is exceptionally handy. In this case, I find it just beyond amazing. So Google Sheets has the explore function, just as all Google products, that can ingest your data, analyse it, and show you some common answers and basic charts. It can show you pivot tables. It can just show you so much. It's absolutely fantastic. So I'm just going to show you how you could use the explore function with this simple spreadsheet. So I'm just going to highlight the data and just press explore, and it just comes up with so many ideas on what I could now do with this information. So it adds up all the cells, it finds the average of everything, it counts how many cells in total I've highlighted, it comes up with different charts that I might want to use. So it comes up with so many ideas that I might want to chart. It's plotted it all in a plot graph. It's put in a bar graph for me. It's come up with so many ideas on what I might want to do with that information. It's just fantastic. And here it's come up with a correlation between February and March. You can ask the data, like, what is the highest value in total? You can, there's all the different graphs. It's so intuitive on what you might want to do with that. Also, you can it can create pivot tables for you. So I'm just going to see with this one, highlight some information, go to explore and see what it comes up with. So again, analysing, so the age, let's see what else. it's come up with. So how many people have what age, a count of the different activities. So 3 people want to go to London Eye, 3 people want to go to London Aquarium, all the different kinds of activities. It's put it in so many different ways that you could possibly want to use. The top full names by age. There's so much you could do with this. It's just fantastic that it comes up with all these ideas. You can ask it questions based on your data, as I've said. It's just absolutely brilliant. So you can do total of a discount amount. You can just ask it that. The correlation between the ID and age. It just depends on your data what it comes up with. I do have a pivot table I can show you. So pivot table data here. So here I've got information about cars. So the customer name, this is just random data that I've got here. So if I highlight this information, the explore function comes up with different ways that I can summarize this information. It is exceptionally good if you want to just quickly put it in a different format. So if I go to my explore pivot tables, it comes up. So the average price of per model, or what else does it come up with? The count of customer name per garage. So I want to know, well, how many customers have bought from the Glasgow garage? I can see that instantly. It is 6, and has put that information together. I didn't even need to do anything. All I needed to do was highlight it and press explore. With Excel, you usually have to do a bit of dragging and dropping for it to come up with the best pivot table for you. So I can just add that in. So insert my pivot table, and I'll put it on a new sheet so it doesn't go on the same sheet as my data. And there we go. I can just put a nice title and it summarised that information for me really neatly. So I didn't even need to do anything with that information. So I think that's about me. So thanks very much for listening.
Hello, Laura. That was brilliant. Really thorough, really excellent. Yeah, just so comprehensive. I think, Miss Ryder picked up on a couple of things as you were presenting. Said the split ability looks like a real time saver, which is great, and also the ability to be able to use filters is really good as well. So I hadn't realised that control and backslash removed all the formatting that goes along with a cell. So every day is a school day. So if anyone's got any other questions or kind of comments, stick them in the chat for us. We'll be taking feedback from the session. So the feedback link is bit.ly stream 0506. And if people are filling in the feedback form, I'll just show you a couple of kind of top tips, which are probably all completely pointless, but just cool things that I found in Google Sheets, just for a bit of fun. So I'll just bring my screen in here. So hopefully you can see a blank spreadsheet, and in cell A1 I've typed P, in B1 I've typed R, in C1 I've typed I, in D1 I've typed D, and in E1 if I type E, it spells the word pride, and it makes my sheet go all the rainbow colours. So I'm not sure what you would then want to do with that, but I thought it made it look super pretty. So there's my first completely useless piece of information. The second tab here, I've created myself a Google Translate effectively. So I've typed the word hello into A1, and then I've used a bit of formula to be able to translate words automatically. So the formula is equal Google Translate, and then you need to put in the cell reference, and then you need to put in the source language. So in this case, it's English. So I put an EN for English, and then you can put in the language that you want to translate it to. So I put FR for French, I put ES for Spanish, and DE for German. And the Google Translate codes, the 2-letter codes, work off the ISO 6391 code list, which you can find on Wikipedia. And so you can pick any language that you like, and get cracking with some translating.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
I don't know what you're going to use that for either, but I think that's pretty cool too. So what else have we got? So I think one of the places where teachers will see Google Forms, quite a lot, and they get quite a lot of feedback. The responses in the feedback sheet are obviously really helpful to look at, but you can also press the Google Sheets button here, and it will automatically create the sheet for you. So where do I see teachers probably getting some of the data that they'll be processing in Google Sheets, from forms hopefully that you've already used with your classes, so then they can apply some of the skills and things, and use some of the functions that you've spoken about. When you ask for people's names on Google Forms, you can see here I've done a demonstration one, and I've typed everything in lowercase. It really irritates me when children don't use capital letters at the start of their name. So you can correct that in Google Sheets by using the equals proper, and then in brackets just put the cell reference that you want to make proper, and it just adds a capitalization at the start of each word. So if I've obviously put Mr. Vosser demo, so I remember to delete this piece of feedback because it's obviously very complimentary because it was a session. But if you had that with a list of names that you'd taken from children and you wanted to capitalize their names, I think that's pretty cool. And the last, two more things to show. The kind of last thing in the sheet that I've created QR codes. So there is the ability to be able to create QR codes in Google Sheets as well, which is great if you want to stick them up around the school and let children take pictures of them on their phone. So you just type the URL or wherever the code. If you're, for instance, making barcodes or something as an enterprise project, you can type that into the cell A1, and then there's a formula in cell B1 there, and I'll drop that in the resources folder. I won't bother reading out the formula because it is quite long, but you can copy and paste that, or make copies of the sheet and reuse that. So your tip about the keyboard shortcuts with the control / made me think, I'd really like to know what all the different keyboard shortcuts are in Google Sheets. So if you press control / you get the keyboard shortcut menu in Google Sheets, and that way you can go and explore all the different keyboard shortcuts that are available, just as a bit of fun, because using a keyboard shortcut certainly makes life a bit easier. So 5 or 6 completely useless potentially, or odd uses for Google Sheets, but hopefully there'll be something a little bit fun there on top of all the kind of serious and actual usage that Laura gave in the session. So thanks very much, Miss Ryder, for joining us, and also Karen. She's going to share this far and wide because it will be particularly helpful, particularly to our business education NQTs. So that's lovely, isn't it? Good. So I think that's probably us for the live stream. If people are on Monday free at 11 o'clock, Karen is actually going to be on a live stream with me looking at the Google Guardian feature in Google Classroom. So we'll just look at how potentially management teams go about setting that up or delegating the responsibility for setting up and managing all the parent and carer email addresses, and then just some advice for teachers on how Google Guardian email summaries work and where it gets the information from in Google Classroom, and what it looks like when parents receive it. And I think if you can give some children some tips on how to use it, then that really helps make a difference as well. But it's pretty much Friday afternoon. I know the South Lanarkshire Council Google Education Group. Google trainers are getting together at 12 o'clock for a bit of a catch up and some exciting announcements. So there might be more stuff coming out next week off the back of that. And all that's left for me to do is say thank you so much, Laura. Really great session. Make sure people check the resources out at the bit.ly down there to give it a go when you're watching this back. And have a very lovely weekend. Bye bye for now. Bye bye.
Bye, guys.
Laura.